Hello and welcome to Steveknows. Today we're checking out Underdogs, the game of 2024 so far, I think. So let's see what the game is offering us and my thoughts upon it. That's the cake, but we also have a cherry on top. We have a Quest3 giveaway for the launch of Underdogs. 10 of them, in fact. Tons of, well, it's not tons, it's just 10. But it does improve the odds of winning, so I'll link that down below in the description. I'd also appreciate a subscribe. It helps me out massively, and that is enough chin wagging. Let's get started. So this game is a physics-based roguelike mech brawler where you will be sat in the seat of a mech bot, living your Pacific Rim fantasy, until you find out it's the council estate version as you engage in underground fighting. You're in your mech bot called the Gorilla, which is aptly named because that is how you move in this title, and I will touch on that in the mechanics section of this spiel. But first off, the story. Let's set the scene of Underdogs because it's got a pretty great vibe. So the story of Underdogs is a story of some underdogs set in a really gritty dystopian world. But you seem to be a couple of Londoners.
This the kill box, huh? Yo, check it. We can see the Brock up there. Inshallah. You ready for this?
The dark vibe, the comic style, the roadman music actually created a fantastic underground environment where these mechbot fights happen. I actually loved the ethos of this title. It's kind of crazy when this game came from one Hamza who made us a racquetball title previously. What a glow up. So my fellow London brethren are on a mission to save one of your brothers called King. His brain has been taken over by an AI virus that could potentially kill him. So they need to get to the last free city, New Bracker. But to get there, they have to fight their way through hustlers, thieves, gangs, scavengers, climbing up the food chain by mech fighting, earning a great reputation so you can make your way through to this city. The way the story is delivered, though, is so cool. It's got this comic-like art style that has depth to the scene and some motion. And because of that, it kind of leaves your imagination to fill in some of the gaps. It's a bit like being immersed reading a book, but more fun. It almost takes me back to the old RPGs I used to play, like Final Fantasy, where it would just kind of give you text in a static scene, and you would have to imagine what was happening at that point in time in your head. So let me take you through how each phase of this title works chronologically, from the beginning to the end. So you will start your day and you'll get the morning, afternoon and evening time to do things around the town. You're given choices at each stage of the day, but only between two things, which are random. And you cannot go back, so you need to choose wisely. These choices are things like buying items from a store, risking it and looking for trouble, which can reap rewards like finding bot parts and perks for your mech bot. You can also sell spare items to get some cash and use that cash to buy things like repairs or parts for your bot. This whole day phase is super important because after a fight you have a new day, your bot's going to be damaged from the previous night, so you need to balance healing yourself, buying upgrades for the next fight, getting money for big purchases over the next couple of days. What is the best strategy forward? And it's a really great part of the game actually. It's super simple, but having that little bit of strategy so you can have the best outcome is also like a mini game within this game. I love it. So you then get to the very end of your day cycle where you have to engage in a bot fight. But to fight, you do need to be sponsored by someone, and they call this a patron. They will give you a reward for making it through the round and defeating the bot, but it will add a certain modifier to the fight, such as enemies explode once destroyed. So choosing which patron you want will change the strategy of your play. Also, choosing a patron would mean that you would gain the opportunity to improve your reputation with that person. So if the repair mechanic was a patron and you won, you can get things like extra discounts on repairs or extra repair points, which is going to be incredibly beneficial later down the road. Once a patron is chosen, it is fighting time. Here you can add perks that will give you damage boosts, change parts that will give you different weaponry types like the ability to grab, pick up and throw enemies instead of just smashing them, or add an extra heavy arm that will do even more damage, perhaps increase the stun attribute or repair something. And this game follows the recipe of you'll engage in a bunch of fights, and at the very end, you'll have a big old boss fight. Classic roguelike recipe. The fighting in this game, though, is such a rush. You swing your arms like Mike Tyson after he just bit off an ear. So make sure nothing is around you when you're playing. It also plays best if you can physically turn 360 degrees. No hitting your family, then blaming it on VR when the police show up. It just won't fly. So the mech bot's arms move like your own arms, which is a really odd experience. That's the Pacific Rim reference I was getting at. You move your left arm with a jab, your bot arm will do a jab. It took some getting used to, because your arm can actually reach out much further than your own arm. And an interesting mechanic is also you have to grab the floor and use the grip buttons to do that to move yourself around. You can hold the grip in one place, move in 2 dimensions freely. Something I like to do is you can grab the floor, fling yourself forward, but don't release this hand, punch them, and then push yourself back. A nice in and out move. Or you can grab the floor and flick it to the side, and you will strafe out of the way. I found that I ended up moving like I was in a wheelchair when playing this game. You know, you grab either side, and you push back to fling yourself back, or you fling forward so you can go launching at an enemy. You'll see. If you play the game, you'll see. It is kind of amusing. I love this game!
Cornered, bang out. You're about to lose your left arm. It's critical.
Not only can you damage enemies by punching them, you can also launch yourself into them, bash them, by doing a really fast, rapid movement into them. And there isn't really a much more satisfying way to kill an enemy when they jump in the air at you, and you just kind of bitch slap them out of the way. You're like, not today, Zero Dawn from Wish. You can also do damage using the environment, knocking them into spikes that are lying around, crushing them under a pillar, grinding them in machinery. In fact, it's recommended. It makes things much, much easier. You can also use enemies to hurt other enemies. Sometimes they will explode, so knock them back into other enemies and then boom, free extra damage. Some enemies also have weak spots, so keep an eye out for that. There's a lot of nuance in this title with the enemies. They've done a great job, actually. It was rather refreshing and rewarding to encounter them, discover what's good, what's bad, something you often experience if you play roguelike games. Something else that was really cool was you have 3 health bars. You have one for each arm and then one for your body casing that you sit in. If the one on your body casing goes and then you get hit, you die. But if an arm is destroyed, well, you have one less arm. You just have to fight using one to move around and swing. But this is also something to consider when you go into a fight with low health on one arm. Should you swap your loadout around so your arm that has more health has a better loadout? Because once the left one is destroyed, you'll lose the perks, you'll lose the ability to use that weapon. So tons of strategy as well. Overall, this game, I think, freaking awesome. Honestly, the whole gritty vibe, the London characters, the Roadman hype, it all came together for an experience that I've not really played before in VR. It felt new, exciting, refreshing, and addictive. I cannot stress that enough. Addictive. It looked stunning, it played incredible, and it had addictive gameplay. And as I said at the start of the video, I think this is the best VR release so far of 2024. It's one hamza, well blimmin' done. So that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Please consider subscribing. Have a great week. Happy gaming. Good day.